Hello and welcome to the CSCE capstone class, or CSE 490 this semester. My name is Jose Vidal and I will be the instructor for this class. So in this video, I just want to go over everything that you need to know about this class, CSE 490, for this semester, and everything that you need to do, specifically the first week of classes, so right now. The first thing you need to know is that everything is in this website. So capstone.cse.sc.edu already has everything that you need for this class. So check it out and go there. And this is what you see when you go there. The front page tells you what you need to do on the first week of classes. So the first thing you need to do is watch this video. You're doing that. That's good. Then the next thing I need your GitHub username. So you click here. This takes you to the online form. You log in with your USC credentials there, and then you tell me your GitHub username. I will then add you to our sccaps.org. So that's this organization here. And then once I do that, you'll be able to click here on our discussion page. It will take you to the discussion page here, and which looks right now it looks like this. It'll look a little bit different. And this is just a class discussion, but mostly important thing is this is where I will post any important announcements, but also where you can go in and post, and everybody in the class should be able to read it, and you can form teams this way. So you can come here to the team formation section and post that you're looking for a certain team. You need one more member in your team, or you're looking for a team that is doing this or what, or you have an idea, whatever. So you can post that here. So make sure that you are watching this repo, and watching of course means you click on the watch button. So it's a special word. That is why it's capitalized. It's watching with a capital W. So do that right now. And then the first week, we have to form teams. So the way this class works is we're going to split up into teams of 4 or 5 students, 4 or 5, no more, no less. That's important. And each team is going to build an app over the 2 semesters. So first, we're going to create the teams. If you click here, there's a team formation section. This is basically what it says is you can either form a team, you can find other people. Once you have 4 or 5 of them, you click here in the team formation form and you submit the names. These are the names of the people in my team, and this is the repo name we want, and I will create a repo for you. You are done. If you don't want to do that, or you can't find enough people, you don't have to do anything at all. What's going to happen is we'll just assign you to a team. So there'll be a bunch of people that didn't get a team for various reasons, didn't want to, and I will assign everybody to teams making 4 or 5. So you see here in the deadlines page, you can see that you have to submit your team creation form by August 27th. If you don't do that, then next day on Thursday, or maybe definitely by Friday, I will have assigned everybody to teams. So I just take everybody who is not already in one of those teams and just randomly form teams. This might mean that if you created a team earlier with 4 people, I might have to put a 5th person in there. So keep that in mind. You might get an extra person, depending on how the numbers work out. But that is what it's going to happen. So the 20th, first day, second day of classes, give me your GitHub username, and then a week later, if you want to, by then submit your team, or earlier if you want. And then by that Friday, all teams should be formed, and it is at that point that the things start. The class starts going, and we start with the various milestones. So these are what I call milestones, because that is what GitHub calls them, but these are basically homeworks, or the things that are due at the various times. So I'm going to go over the ones for this semester first, and then I'm going to go over the syllabus. See, there's a couple more things that I want to talk about there. But know that like I showed you, the deadlines page is very important. It just summarizes all the deadlines. Those are all there for this semester. So yeah, let's just start with forming teams. So the first milestone is to form teams. Your team is already formed, but this is basically, it's just a quick, just setting up, who's in the team, what are we going to work on, who's going to do what, how are we going to communicate, are we going to use Slack or some other, chatting, because you definitely should get some sort of chat app. How do you manage, who's going to do what? And so you can see this tells you exactly what you have to do for this first week of classes. And a lot of these milestones will have this deliverables section. And this is what you actually have to turn in. So the deliverables are what we're actually looking for you to turn in. So read that. In this case, it is a couple of wiki pages in your repo. So you're not actually using the code part of your repo. You're not doing any Git commits yet. You're just using the wiki page from the website. And in fact, a lot of the early milestones are just using your wiki page. But do those. And yeah, there's the grading rubric. And one last thing is all the milestones will have, the due date, but also this grading. And here it says team. So this will say either team or individual. So if it's a team, that means we give one grade to the whole team. So everybody in the team gets the same grade. If it's an individual grade, that means everybody gets a different grade, which is going to be the case for the next milestone. The weekly report, this is a little bit different because it's due every week. So every Sunday, in fact, starting in the September 7th, is going to be due. And the way this works is really easy. You're going to create an issue with this name, and the specific names for this semester are here. So we're going to create a GitHub issue with weekly report 2025-09-07, and then it's going to look like that. So you create that the week before, or whenever you want, really. And then during that week, the week before, you write a little comment about what you did. So this goes over what I'm looking for in terms of the comment, but not a big deal. It's just basically, what did I do this week? Just write a little comment, and then that's it. So you do that every week. If you did nothing, you write nothing this week. This is expected. For some weeks, you're going to be busy with something else. That's fine. But you should at least say nothing this week. Write that. So that's due every week. And then the personas and user stories milestone is due September 14th. It's a team grading. And this is where you start to think about the app that you're going to build. Specifically, you start to think about the personas are like your users, and the user stories are little stories about what they're doing with your app. So by this time, you should have an idea of what the app you want to build and who are your typical users and what kind of things they're going to be doing. And you're going to write all that up. Check out the deliverables here, the grading rubric and deliverables. What you need to do for this one. Design, do later, September 28th. Here is when you actually go in and actually design your app. So, when the user starts my app, what does it look like? What are the buttons there? What does each button do? And then, usually a button takes you to a different page. So what does that page look like? So you start drawing those out. So for this milestone, you're going to have to draw out, a basic or design of what your app will look like, what the functionality is for your app. So we're going to be looking a lot into the interactive design aspects of it. So, does it take 10 different clicks to do something that could have been done with one click, and that's very important for your app? That'll be bad, right? So you want to make it easy on the user. You want good usability for your app. So we're not looking, at this point, we're not looking for, what color the particular buttons are, or whether they're rounded or square buttons. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the bigger design of the page, the flow, the interaction of your app. What does it do, and how does it show things to the user? The requirements milestone, this is more like the contract you might sign. So if, say, you were building this app for somebody, they're giving you money up front, you will have some requirements document saying these are the kind of features, these are the exact features we're going to be implementing. Give us the money. So yeah, you're gonna divide this into required, desired, and aspirational features. So required are just basic core functionality that's gonna be needed just to get anything going. Desired is the actual things that your app does that is, beyond the plumbing. And aspirational are other things that you're not sure at this moment whether you can get to them or not. They seem too hard, but maybe. Um, so yeah, read this, and that will be this. Again, this is all wiki pages that you're building. The research milestone, this is an individual milestone, is something you need to start early on. The other thing, while you're doing all these design milestones, you also need to be thinking about, what platform are we going to build this on? Android, iOS, is it Swift or Kotlin, or is it Django projects, a web app, Windows desktop, is it Java? So, and making decisions. So your team should be, really by this point, should have decided on the platform, the language and stuff, and you as an individual in this team should have started learning it. And this is to show that you have done that, so that you have already, for example, here's say you're building a Django app, so you have already, know about Django, installed it, run it, and you can build a little Django app that does a little bit of something for yourself. So for this milestone, that's what you do. Notice that for this milestone, it's individual, so you have to click on this link. So you follow this link to accept the homework. This is going to create a new repo for you called research dash your username. So your username, whatever that may be. So do that, and so you're going to turn in this whole new repo for this milestone. So notice that this is a little bit different from everything else. It's everybody in their own personal research repo. And then after that, we just delete this. This is not going to go on, but it's just to show that you have started. The architectural milestone is when you as a team start to think about how we're going to build this app, right? So what are the basic components of it? It's going to depend on whether you have a web app or a mobile app and stuff. So I go over that in here, what we're expecting. So read that, turn it in. The source control milestone, October 26th, is an individual one, but this is the point at which you as a team, the whole team, you have your repo, but now there's code in it, and there's actually an app in your repo that is the thing, that is, if it's an Android app, it's an Android app that actually does something. It's probably could be just hello world at this time, that's fine, but it's there, and everybody in the team can, clone it, run it, make some commits, push it back, right? And you have done all that. So it's basically at this point, you all have a shared team repo, and you're committing code, and you're building it, and you're testing it, and you're making changes, pull requests, and getting merged. You have all done at least one time all those things, so you're going. You started working, actually. You started coding as a team. That's October 26th. We have this other ELS, ethical, legal, and security considerations. It's just a little write-up where you have to think about ethical issues with your app, or legal issues with your app, or security issues with your app. So 3 very different things most of the time. Just write up about those. Again, just a little write-up. And this will be due November 2, but basically all of November, that is going to be programming. So you're going to be working towards actually your proof of concept milestone. This is the app you're going to be turning in. This is December 5th. That's the last day of classes. So on the last day of classes, you're going to turn in this proof of concept. It tells you, this should use all the libraries that you're going to be using for your app, exercise all the APIs. It's, if it's a web app, it has to be deployed on the internet, and it has to implement at least 10% of the functionality. So proof of concept is, you have the whole thing is an app, it runs on my phone, that's the thing, and it starts to do things, at least the core, something is there to prove that, hey, we can get this done. I just need to add all the features now, but we got something, we got to start. We can do this. So this is the deliverables here. Read that, make sure you do, the whole git tag thing there. how you upload the binaries. This goes over that. And if it's an iOS app, then you have to use TestFlight because, Apple. Web app, you have to deploy to the internet, and this is the grading rubric for that. So that's that. And then we have also to go with that, there is a demo video. So on the same day, you're gonna have to record yourself using the app to do a little demonstration of your proof of concept. And here is that. So, and that will be the end of this semester in terms of milestones. So if you go back here, home to the deadlines, you'll notice there is one other thing you have to do is the peer reviews form. So that's not there yet, but by then it will be there. So this is just an online form where you tell me what everybody else in your team did. So you peer review, you get a review to all your peers and you tell me what they did. This is going to be important when I calculate your personal contribution grade. So let's get to that then. So again, see, all these things are in the deadlines pages, so you can see when everything is due. November is mostly programming towards your proof of concept. And then, so 490 is our syllabus for this semester. So you should, you start with just regular stuff, your learning outcomes. That's my name. I'm the instructor. To contact me. So this is my GitHub username, or you can email me there. And then for voice calls, we use Teams, or video calls, we use that. And then you can check my office hours by clicking there. These are the TAs from last semester. They might be different this semester, so this might be different right now. I'm not sure. Description, communication. Yeah, so we communicate mostly. Everything goes through GitHub, right? So the way that works is basically using GitHub issues. If you're having a discussion on GitHub issue, you can mention me. That's my GitHub username there. So if you do that, say @Jose Vidal, I will get a notification. I will respond, usually within a day. If you use @instructors, that gets notified me and the TA. So that's a shortcut for notifying all of us. And so do that. So you can either just mention us, or you can create a whole issue and assign it to me. If you have specific questions, this is how you do it. Yeah, make sure you're watching our capstone, our discussion repo. I already talked about that. And then the office hours, you should drop by at some point, say hi to me. I'll be in my office. So you can click here and it'll show you my office hours. They're not there right now, but they will be. And you can reserve a time. So you can click here. You can reserve a time to make sure that there's nobody else during that time. And so do that if you want to drop by and talk, which I highly recommend, especially as you're starting out. There's no textbook. Like I said, there's no meeting times. We do have a capstone lab. So there's this whole office here in the story building, or lab. You can see it right here, and with a bunch of Macs and Windows and Linux machines. So if you need one of those machines, you don't have the particular machine, you can drop by. So once if you're registered for the class, your USC ID should unlock the door. If not, do contact me. But it's locked otherwise. But yeah, this is open 24/7. With your USC ID, you can get in. So it's a great place to have meetings, or when you just need that other computer that you don't have, you can drop by there. I already went over that. Grading scale. So here's how. So these are the various milestones, and this is the percent of the final grade. They add up to 100%. That's how that works. Pretty straightforward. Except your personal contribution is worth up to 100. That's a special thing. So I'll explain that here. So yeah, the grading feedback, we give all the feedback again through GitHub issues. So when you turn in something, we'll write back something in your GitHub issues telling you about what it is. But we don't post actual grades in GitHub because the repo might become public, and other teams will be able to see your repo in 492. We'll get to that next semester. But we do talk about the things that went wrong and the things that you need to work on. So that's how you get your feedback, is through GitHub. The grades themselves are posted at blackboard.sc.edu. So yeah, your personal contributions. So like I said, the way this works is at the end of the semester, I give everybody a personal contribution grade of satisfactory, poor, or unacceptable. Most of the people get satisfactory, but you might get poor or unacceptable grade if you didn't contribute enough to your team. So how do I determine this? Through these 4 things. First is that peer evaluation review that everybody submits. Everybody at the end of the semester, everybody submits a peer evaluation. I will look at those. There's of course your weekly reports, which you have been doing every week. And of course your Git log, which shows me what code you actually committed. It's Git blame. And so the tools that I use, Git blame and analysis tools that look at, how much you contributed and stuff like that. Although that's mostly for next semester, because this semester there's not that much programming. And then just, participation in your GitHub issues and stuff. So I look at all those things and I give everybody this grade, which then is going to change your final grade. So basically, it could happen, and it happens every semester, that, the team gets, maybe an A, and you might get a B or a C or an F, depending on your personal contribution. So yeah, you must write code, obviously, but I mean, to pass this class, you must write code, like programming code. So it becomes a bit of an issue, like with the HTML. Well, HTML is not programming code, although you do have to write it, and it will definitely count. You still have to write some code. So what you cannot do is you cannot only write HTML and CSS for this class, right? That's just the way I have it set up. And the same for animations, right? If you're building a game, it's going to need all kinds of animations and sounds and graphics and stuff. So you get credit for doing that, but you cannot just do that. You have to also write code. And also a database. So a lot of apps will need a database and somebody who knows SQL to maintain it. That's great if you're the database maintainer, but you must also write code and not SQL, not just SQL. Just SQL is a programming language, but still for this class you need to write actual Java or Python or whatever. Again, everything is turned in through your GitHub submissions. AI agents, well, that's a thing now. It was a thing last semester, but just thought I'd make it clear that, yeah, please do use it on any AI tools that you want. So the big important thing is that everything in the repo must be committed by one of the members of the team. So all the code, when you do a git commit, it must be one of you. And if it's you, that means that you are responsible for this code. So however that code came to be, it was maybe an agent was involved in it, that's fine, but you committed it, now you are responsible for it. And this is basically what I think is what we get paid for. You get paid for being responsible for the code. So if that code breaks or is not doing the thing that it should have been done, or there's a bug in it, who's responsible for fixing it? You, right? So that's how we look at it in this class. You commit the code, you're responsible for it, and you're going to get blamed if something goes wrong. So make sure that what code you commit is working. So we have this firing of a team member thing here, so you can read about this. So if you have somebody in your team who is basically absent or not pulling their weight, you can start the firing process. Know that this is a process that you have to follow. So they get a warning, and then they get a few weeks where they can come back and actually start working. So this is a great way of getting somebody who is not doing anything to you. So I wake them up and say, hey, you need to start working or you're going to fail the class, because otherwise, if they don't do anything, their personal contribution will be unsatisfactory and they will get an F. And then, yeah, we have some other stuff in academic integrity. Again, so it's important for this class that using someone else's GitHub account or committing under someone else's identity, that's the same as doing the taking a test for somebody else, right? So everybody use their own GitHub account. You do not share accounts. You write commits. Every time you commit, it's got your name on it. So that's yours. It means you wrote it. So when you author, you git commit, you are the author of it. That means you're the author of it. I'm assuming you're the author of it. If you're not, you're cheating. You're taking somebody else's, doing either work for somebody else or taking credit for somebody else's work. So don't do that. Just everybody use their own GitHub account and commit your own code. And yeah, there's no late makeup. There's no late anything here. So what you should be doing is, you can commit code. You can update your wiki right away. You can start committing code, updating your wiki, creating better and better releases of your software. And this is the way we do it, right? So you just make it better and better until you get to a deadline, and that's it. So there's no late work. There's just work that is getting better and better until you run out of time. And I think that's it. So you can see the schedule here at the end of the syllabus. And then let's go back home here to end. So let me go back home. I'll put my video here. So remember, everything that you need to know is in capstone.cse.sc.edu. Here are the milestones. Here are the forms. Here are the milestones. And yeah, here are some of the lectures. So as you can see, some of the milestones have links to lectures. So the lectures, what I call them, they're just online videos explaining some things and just going into some stuff. So as you go through the milestones, each one will have a link to the lecture that you should watch if you want more details about that particular one. And over here, student videos is, if you're interested, this is, the videos from last year, so you can see what students did last year. This is actually kind of nice. It gives you some inspiration for what kind of app you might want to do this year. So that's it. Thank you.